So yeah, so the next category, the next step that I want you guys to listen is basically the solar panel product. All right. So it's basically the category involved in the introduction of NIA data center. So the second step is solar panel product. It was guide to eco-friendly solar panel efficiency in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Sharjah. So the business. Let's start. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So the key development areas: high cost efficiency, energy, and data management service, and the Solar Giga plant. That's what we're going to discover in this cover in the slide. So the product description and product specifications first. So the marine solar power generators are connected to each other like a net and float on the sea. Unlike existing panels that are polluted by bird droppings and marine debris or damaged by waves, there is no need to worry about contamination or damage. The energy obtained from solar panel generation can be used to immediately decompose seawater to create solar giga energy. As you can see, the chart, like the diameter of 600 millimeters, weight is approximately around 50 kgs. These are the charts of tempered glass, sapphire, condenser lens, hexagonal solar panel, internal weight, battery, etc., etc., as you can see in the image. So the Solar Giga plant is basically solar giga energy produced from marine solar power generators can be stored and transported to solar giga plants through a transport channel made of solar giga storage alloys. Like using solar giga storage alloys, the solar giga energy can be stored and released most safely and easily. And there are several domestic companies deploying such solar giga storage alloys, as you can see in the chart. You know, first, second, third, between the top and the last in the bottom. That's what basically the solar giga channel looks like. Moving on to the next slide is basically the key development areas like solar energy businesses. Okay, so the solar power generators data for July 18, stuff like that. So it's basically dimension, the width of the area that we have covered, the width, the news, the thickness, the power output. In the case of some area, it is possible to construct without vertical restrictions, and it has been proven that a difference of 17 times in power generation can be created with only 5 times the number of panels. Okay, so yeah, moving on to the next slide is just a picture. As you guys can see, just give me a second. Yeah. So it's basically the key development areas of Solar Giga Energy businesses. You can see like paid application list of things that we have made, like a prototype, you can say that. All right. So it doesn't involve, you guys can go through that. So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So basically these are the type of data coding. As you can see, there are 4 types, okay? 4 different types, or you can say styles for the data coding things that we have used in the data centers. So yeah, these are the charts, like the design, the competitor model 1, the competitor model 2, model 3, and features, model, the characteristics, application field, the final power. These are all kind of like the descriptions of the things that we are using to make these kind of things, okay? And moving on to the next slide. These are the same as I have showed above, the source URL. Some of them are in Korean. You guys can see that. The cost estimation, approx annually, stuff like that. So you guys can go through that, because this is just a chart of description of the thing that we are using to make this kind of stuff. As shown below, these are the 4 types of how many things that we use to make this kind of things, like solar giga plants. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Right. So basically, like unlike general, you can see in the like images, there are 2 images, like high cost efficiency, energy, and data management services. These are basically the layout of the things that it looks like from the well, it's a 3D view, you can say that. So it has some features, like unlike general panels, it can be installed even in narrow spaces. It's okay, like sufficient power generation with ultra high efficiency, reduce the cost of solar power plant construction one public facility. Like in general, it can be installed anywhere with a high efficiency of plus 350% to 450% compared to existing panels, and can be installed in narrow areas where it is difficult to install general solar panels, okay? Like such as building islands in urban areas with narrow gaps between buildings, no one like on one wall in general factory areas or mountainous areas. As you can see, like up to 450% to up to 350%, that's the difference in giga panel. Existing panels, that's this much, that's the gray line. And the giga panel is the blue line. You can see the differences, okay? So basically that's sums up that's gonna tell you the differences about the giga panel and the existing panel. All right, like moving on to the next slide is basically, yes, it's basically a design, a stable future with NIA data center, like solar-based data center versus traditional data comparisons. So a solar-based data center generates profits without the burden of electricity cost and is environmentally friendly and has a high long-term sustainability. It has a predictable profit structure as it is not affected by fluctuations in electricity cost, and there are almost no operating costs after the initial investment. On the other hand, traditional electricity based center is likely to have a low long-term profitability due to the cost burden of electricity cost and the impact of environmental regulations. And operations may become difficult when electricity costs rise, as you guys can all see that. Like, as you guys all know, that if the electricity increases, the general cost gonna, disturb. So basically, the future business model is a carbon-free housing constructions power using renewable energy. In like GigaPanels Home aims to make homes energy independent, energy storage and sales, and carbon free. And as you can see in the slide, like up to 450%, up to 450%. Yeah, exactly. That's the things that gonna be look like in the chart. All right. So that's on the right side, as you can see, there's a whole chart, whole layout of the things would look like of the solar giga plant for energy storage and transmission. Okay, like building a solar city using giga panels and solar giga plants. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. It's basically a chart of solar-based data center versus traditional data comparisons. So it has like shows the profits basically. So the solar-based data center generates stable profits. Yeah, and yeah, it has some item traditional data center and solar-based data center high efficiency profitability. So initial step, these are just the amount, the cost that is going to be generated, like just going to be used in making the things, as you can see. Okay. So like the sustainability, complexity, operational complexity, long-term cost savings, long-term cost, lifespan of setup equipment, lifespan. You guys can all go through that and you will know what I'm basically talking about. That's the difference between the solar-based data center and the traditional data center. So yeah, you guys can see that. And if you have any questions, just let me know, like moving on to the next slide.